guys, it's Tom back with another video. Listen, on this one, this is a little different because I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've never talked about this before. um, but I want to talk about something because I've learned a lot since I've been here. Just a lot about my health and stuff like that. That I can do to help myself maintain and even get better. I actually have better health. I'm in better health now, I feel, than I was like 2 years ago when I was back in the States and that, and I was walking for exercise back then too, but not as much as I do here. Plus I do other things here. But there's one thing that I found out recently, right? I was like, maybe you've seen this before from other people, but you can easily, it's so hot here, okay? It's hot and humid, so you could get rashes here, quite easily, you know what I mean? Especially if you're active, okay? So I'm just going to break it down to you this way, right? If you're, like, I don't really use aircon during the day, okay? Once in a while, if I'm making a video, once in a while I might put it on while I'm doing the video, but now, I don't know, I just use a fan. Because it's usually 10-15 minutes. I could live without aircon, for that. You know what I mean? So I use aircon to sleep in this room. When we're sleeping, we have the aircon on. Okay, it's a wall unit. It's not a split con, but we do have one in the living room, and it's a split con. And I used to not use that at night. We would just have the fans on us while we're watching a movie or whatever, right? Because if you have the window open, it gets noisy, man. Because there's even though we're on kind of an upper floor, not upper, but like mid-rise type floor, there's a street that is pretty busy at night. You know what I mean? It gets, so it's really loud. It gets kind of loud. So we got to close those sliding doors, to the patio or to the balcony. So when you're doing that, there's no airflow now, right? So you got to have fans or something, right? And I noticed that when we were just using the fans, our electric bill was really reasonable. This is a decent sized condo. It's like 80 square meters, right? 85 square meters. And for the longest time, right? Like our electric bill was like 3,500 pesos, okay, or like $65. Between $65 and $70 U.S., which is pretty reasonable here. Because electric can be very expensive here. But in those other months, like when I came here, it was last June. So, it's a rainy season, right? It's, June, July, August, and it's not quite as hot, right? So I hadn't been here during the actual summer, which is like March, April, May, those are like the hottest months, right? Here. And so when I experienced that just this year, for the first time, it was like, man, we got to put the air on in the living room, like even at night, like around 7 o'clock, just for about 3 hours, while we're watching a movie or whatever. Let's, you know what I mean? We're like, yeah, let's just put, I put it on like 20 degrees or whatever. I don't set it crazy low, but, just whatever, 20 is good. And my aircon wall unit in the bedroom, right, we set it on like 25, and it's fine. It's just in a bedroom, so it's plenty cool, So, but anyway, so I find now, since we've been using the split con just for like 3 hours, right, at night, but almost every night. Plus we'll have a fan on, like low, blowing the cool air, like this. The air con blows this way, right? We're sitting back here. Then the fan blows the cool air where we're sitting, So it works out good. It's kind of efficient, You can just put it on low, even the fan, And the split con's got a fan too, of course. You put that on high or whatever, But I tell you what, our electric bill went up almost double. You know, it went from like 3,500, 3,700 to like 6,400 pesos. Like in the last couple 3 months, right? It's been that. But that's about as high as it's gonna be. You know what I mean? Like the way we do it, if we just kept doing it all the time, it would never probably get above like 64, 6,500. You know, for a month, the electric. So I'm just, and you guys can figure out, 6,500 is whatever. It's like, the hell is that? $130, $120, something like that. With the current exchange rate, it's about $120 a month, USD. Okay, as opposed to like 65 to $70, which it was before. But there's something else that I found out that since I've been really active, I've been a lot more active lately. After I had this like back issue and all this shit, I've been doing like my own therapy, right? I just do physical therapy every day, and it's for about 45 minutes. I do it usually early evening, right? I'll hit the shower like for the second time, and then I'll do it for 45 minutes, and then we relax and watch a movie or whatever after that. But I'll do it on my bed, and I don't have the aircon on, but I do have the fan on. I'll have a regular fan on me while I'm doing it, so I don't like sweat that much while I'm doing it. But anyway, what I'm getting at is that when you're active here, okay, and you're not using the aircon during the day, you're trying to conserve, you're just using fans or whatever, and you're walking like I do, I walk probably 2 to 3 miles a day outside, plus I do 45 minutes of stretching and yoga and all that, plus I do about 5 minutes of stretching before I walk, each time I walk, which I walk twice a day. So when you're active here in this weather, and you're not using aircon, you're not one of these guys that, no, I need aircon 24/7. You know what I mean? And some guys are like that, and hey, nothing, I got no problem with that. That's I understand you want to be comfortable and all that, but you're gonna pay though when you do that. You're gonna pay a pretty hefty electric bill every month. But if you're like me and you sort of want to conserve, well, guess what? If you do this and you're very active, you need to take like just taking one shower a day or whatever is not enough. Okay, you need to take at least 2 showers a day. Maybe some guys take 3 a day. I don't know. And I actually play basketball now too, about 3 or 4 days a week for about 30 minutes in the morning, like 7:30 to 8 a.m. I just shoot baskets. I don't play a game. I'm just by myself. Amy comes with me sometimes. She shoots too. But anyway, it's like 30 minutes, but it's a pretty good workout. You're dribbling around, you're shooting, you're running to go get the ball, and stuff like that. And believe me, I sweat a lot more with 30 minutes of basketball than I do with both walks put together. So anyway, but what I found out was, I had this rash, and I was like, man, this. And then I'd use this zinc stuff that they sell at the drugstore. It's pretty good for like eczema and whatever, stuff like that. And it kind of helps, right? But it wasn't really going away. And then I was putting powder on there, like prickly heat powder, that they sell here. And it would help. It would help keep the area dry. But it wasn't really going away. And then finally it got really bad when I was, really sort of, after I started playing basketball and stuff, it was like, well, I had jock itch. That's what it is. That's what it was. So I'm like, oh man, what a dumbass I am, So anyway, but they sell this cream at the store, and it's over the counter. It's not, you don't need a prescription for it. I think it's like each tube, and it'll last you about a week. It's a smaller tube, it lasts you about a week, but it's about, I don't know, 400 peso or something like that. Because we bought something else too, so I can't remember what it was, but I'll say 500. It's in the ballpark of 500 peso. But it works good, man. Like you just put it on like 2-3 times a day, right? Like after a shower or whatever, or in the morning also, like, and it pretty much clears it up really good, because it was really getting bad, and because I've heard other guys talk about skin problems and and stuff like that they've experienced here, and this was mine. You know what I mean? Like this was mine. You know, and so finally, like I said, I finally figured it out. I go, it's got to be jock itch, man. Because I was I look up stuff online. Whenever I have some kind of issue, or you know what I mean. You can't always run into the doctor for minor shit. It's like 700 pesos every time to see the doctor. It's not a lot of money, but why do it if you don't have to? When you're talking about stuff like this, like minor stuff. So, but anyway, I just want to advise you guys, if you're thinking about the same thing, or if the same thing happens to you, and now the difference is that it's in one area, you know what I mean? Like jock itch is generally in that upper thigh area, in that crotch region, you know what I mean? It's, between your thigh and your crotch, you know what I mean? Now, if you're getting rashes elsewhere, seriously, almost anywhere else, maybe, whatever, you could try stuff, whatever you could find online, but you might have to go to a dermatologist or something, you know what I mean? Or some kind of allergy medication or something you might need, But this was just in the one area, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right. So, but I feel pretty good now, And my back, just so you guys know, right? Like, it's not just that I had, like, compressed discs at the L4 and L5, which is probably a common thing for guys my age. I'm not the only guy. But that's not the only thing I had, though. I had something for a long time that was called, I think it's called lumbar lordosis, and it's basically, they call it flat back. Where your back is not curved enough, your spine is not curved enough, doesn't have enough curve in it, and that causes some serious problems. And I had it when I was younger, like when I was 18, even 19. Now, I think as I got older, as a younger adult, it didn't seem to bother me that much, or maybe it wasn't as bad. But then when you get older, like older, like in your 60s, I don't know, it came back and it started, I think it also affected me, So the stuff that I do, the yoga and stretching and strengthening stuff I do, is sort of to address that as well. Not just the disc thing, So I'm kind of battling two things, but I think I'm winning. It feels like it. I mean, it's not easy though, guys. You gotta, if you don't want to take fucking medication, excuse my language, but if you don't want to take medication for the rest of your life, whatever, pain pills and all this, you gotta do your own rehab, physical rehab, therapy, okay? And you can go to a doctor; they'll get you started, right? Because you may not know what to do, right? Plus, you want to get your diagnosis too, You want to do the MRI and all that, so they can see what's wrong with your back or whatever. If you have a back issue when you get here, like me, within a short time of moving here, you know what I mean? I was here for like 3 months, and I kind of developed this. And some of it is because you're doing more exercise, you're walking more, you're carrying groceries, you know what I mean? You're just doing more stuff. You're lifting things that maybe you weren't doing during the pandemic back in the U.S. when you're sitting on your ass all day, or whatever you were doing. I mean, at least because that's kind of what I was doing. I mean, I didn't have a physical job. I was a realtor. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting in front of computers. I'm sitting in my car. The only exercise I was getting was when I was walking for exercise around my neighborhood, and when I was walking through a house or condo showing it to a client. That was like my exercise, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I was working in a salt mine or something, So when you're in that situation, you get older, it's easy to you start slumping in your chair, you're sitting, you spend a lot of time sitting and you're slumping, and guess what? That causes the problems with the flat back and all that, you know what I mean? That makes it worse, can even cause it. So, but there is a solution, and you can do it yourself, okay? And you can even look on YouTube, man, about any specific back problems you have. And there's going to be some doctor and or a chiropractor that's doing a video specifically for that condition and tells you exercises to do to alleviate, the pain and stuff and the problem. I'm telling you, YouTube is really a good tool, you know what I mean, for a lot of things. It really is, you know. So, that's about it, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Have a great weekend, man. It's Saturday here in the Philippines. You guys are sleeping in the U.S. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you later.